maybe you might start by talking about how you came to post this on YouTube.
Well, I had an auto accident way back in 2002, and I was represented by the law firm College Isaac and DeSico. It was ready to go to trial, so they referred it to his father, Brian Isaac, referred to his father, Alan Isaac, for litigation purposes. So I met with him the first visit. On the second visit, Mr. Isaac sexually abused, putting inside my bra and grabbing staff not to disturb us, and he began to tell me that he was discussing my case, and he said, nobody gets something for nothing in this world. What do you think I want from you? And I said, I don't know. What do you want? For me to read my EBTs and to do what I'm supposed to do? And he said, no. He said, I'm going to want a blowjob.
Excuse me, Luisa, what's EBTs?
It's an examination before trial.
Oh, I see.
EBTs. And then he said, I'm going to want a blowjob from you. And the attorney that I had gone to said to just yes him to death. And I said, yeah, don't worry. After the case is over with, don't worry about it. And he said, what do you think, I'm stupid? I'm going to want 2 blowjobs before the case even begins. So the phone rang, and he came from behind after he hung up. He came from behind me now and grabbed both of my breasts. And I became violently ill. I had to leave. And he said, I can't have you leaving like this. You're going to have to stay here at least 10 more times until this case, there's hours of that we have to go over with this case, and you just can't be leaving like this. So I left the office, and as I'm leaving the office, he grabs my buttocks. He leans over and says, great ass, and somebody from his office witnessed this, and my friend that I was with witnessed him doing that. So I immediately left and told my girlfriend, I had to go to the bathroom because I was very ill, and told her that he was, in essence, blackmailing me to give him sex in exchange for his legal representation. So she said, what are you going to do? And I said, well, if I report it to the police, then it's going to be a he said, she said thing. And we contacted a private investigator, and I was wired for my next meeting. And October 7th, 2005, there was a meeting, and Mr. Isaac was basically telling me in the beginning of the meeting that he may not take my case because I wasn't in agreement to give him oral sex and whatever he wanted. So, basically on the tape it states that he's saying, he's clearly heard that he's discussing my case with some big shot attorney, and that this big shot attorney gets favors from him and with judges, and he went to see this guy to discuss my case, to go behind the scenes to get favors from a judge. And so I asked, soon after that, I reported it. I went to another attorney, actually, to take the case away, and I met with this other attorney, and this other attorney was trying to get me to take a payoff for the tape to go away.
Wow.
And how much was the payoff? He discussed it with my friend in the elevator. I wasn't privy to that conversation, but he said, this lawyer's going to be ruined. There's fees involved. This man's going to get disbarred. He's going to be listed as a sex offender. So he basically kept pressuring me to try and take a payoff for this tape to go away. He said he was friends with the Isaacs. So I reported it. He told me not to go to the DA. He said, don't go to the police. He said, it's going to taint your personal injury case. And I didn't listen, and I contacted the DA's office, and I went to the DA. So immediately on my visit with the DA's office, she told me that this is extortion, coercion, and felony-level sexual abuse, and she subpoenaed 3 of my medical doctors to appear before a grand jury. That was December 5th of 2005.
Were you injured?
That's what started. It was a personal injury case.
Were you injured? What do you mean injured?
You said that your
in the car accident. Yeah.
Oh, I see. No, okay.
Yeah, I had a cervical injury to my spine. Yes, in the car accident. So there was never a grand jury. The case basically got dismissed. I had a meeting with the chief of the sex crimes unit, and she was literally pointing a finger in my face and telling me that, asking me if I was bending over and showing him my cleavage. I don't believe you. I believe him. She said, what kind of bra were you wearing? I was hysterically crying for about 3 hours, but I couldn't even breathe.
Who was that?
That was Chief Luisa Esposito from the New York County District Attorney's Office.
In which county?
New York County. And what's the name? Luisa Esposito. Friel.
Luisa, I'm just a little confused. There's the personal injury case for your auto accident, right, where your spine was injured?
Yes.
Do you think in any way that affected that case, this situation?
Oh, there was a lot of things. I really can't get into it, but there was a lot of things. Yes, that case was definitely seriously affected. There was, yeah, absolutely. I can't get into it because it's very, very extensive, what happened thereafter because of Isaac. So,
you mean vindication and so on?
When I realized that the DA's office was not taking my case and wasn't going to prosecute it, and there were a lot of things that were very bizarre that were happening, so I contacted the Rape Crisis Hotline, and I told them what was happening, and the detective on the phone said, ma'am, it's obvious that the DA's protecting this lawyer. I'm going to connect you with a detective. He's going to call you shortly, and you could tell him what's going on. So he did. He contacted me. This detective, Raguso, contacted me, and he called me in with my witness, because I do have an outcry and a eyewitness, and my eyewitness came in with me. We met the detective. I never, by the way, was asked to sign any supporting witness depositions at the DA's office nor at the detective's office. So the detective took our interview, did not have us write anything, sign anything, and I left and he said, leave the evidence with me, which is the 1 hour, 49 minutes DVD tape. He said, I will listen to it with my bosses, and I'll let you know if I can make an arrest based on what I hear on the tape.
1 hour and 49 minutes?
Yeah.
Because I only saw 5 minutes, 30 seconds.
Yeah, no, it's very involved. The tape is very involved. I mean, Isaac even discusses having friends, killers as friends.
Oh my gosh, in this 1 hour and 40 minutes?
Yeah. And
did you give the original to the detective?
No, it was a copy. So I gave a copy of the tape. The following day, the detective called me and told me, you know what, there's a crime on that tape, I heard it, and I'm going to arrest Mr. Isaac. He goes, I don't care who he is, and I don't care how powerful he is, he's going to be arrested. Wow. So there was never an arrest made, and I would contact the detective, and he said to me, what do you want me to do? Favors are getting called in, and then not allowing me to arrest him.
Wow.
So, who were the favors from? I don't know that. But, so there was never an arrest made, and I reported it to the FBI. Matter of fact, the FBI had contacted me after Scott Weinberger from Channel 2 did an interview with me that the DA allowed Isaac to listen to the tape. They brought him in and allowed him to listen to the tape. So Scott Weinberger aired that, and they interviewed me. They brought me in, the FBI, and they interviewed me, and I had subsequent visits with the FBI after that.
When was that?
That was in January of '06.
Mm-hmm. And then?
So then, basically, I had several meetings with them, and then I hired a criminal attorney who wrote a notice in demand after he listened to the evidence. He said that, there's a crime here, and this has been totally swept under the rug. So he wrote a notice in demand letter to Police Commissioner Raymond Kelly demanding an arrest be made on a felony-level sexual abuse. So that was ignored. I filed a complaint with the Internal Affairs Bureau. I filed several complaints with the United States Department of Justice, Michael Garcia. Actually, one of my letters to the United States Attorney Garcia disappeared into thin air, and I sent a return receipt requested and restricted signature, and that totally disappeared. I filed a complaint with the Inspector Postal Service.
You mean you never got back the return receipt requested that you had signed and paid for?
Yeah, I never got anything back. I have.
So you said you filed a complaint with the postal inspector then?
Yes, I did.
And so what happened?
Nothing. Never heard back from them. I have a complaint number. Every time I contacted someone, I have complaint numbers. I contacted the Attorney General's office when Spitzer was in office numerous times, sent a package of all the evidence, because I have the detective on tape also. I have the detective on tape saying that it is a crime. My case fell upon deaf ears, that I had discussed with him on the tape. Well, you told me favors were getting called in, and I have that all on tape. So I submitted all of my evidence to various agencies, and all of my pleas were dismissed and ignored.
Well, this is just...
I had a meeting probably in July of '07. I had a meeting with the United States Assistant United States Attorney, Chief of the Public Correction Unit, Boyd Johnson.
And that was like when?
That was last year in July.
Paula,
There's been a deadlock. There's been nothing, no response back. They've been unresponsive.
But then I filed a federal civil rights action. I have a state action pending that's been absolutely beyond, it's beyond what's happening in the state case.
Now, you mentioned Lisa Friel, the district attorney. What was her role in this?
Her role in this?
Yeah,
well,
responsive,
I had a meeting.
Is she responsive, unresponsive? Was she...
Well, I believe she was unresponsive in the fact that the police department was telling me that she wasn't allowing the arrest, and they were both actually blaming each other.
Right.
So they were passing the buck, actually. So
yeah, I've seen that happen. I've seen scenarios like that. Two
yeah.
people argue back and forth.
You know, when you're a crime victim and you go to the DA's office,
yes.
you're hoping for a resolution towards justice. You're not expecting the chief of the sex crimes unit to be pointing a finger in your face and saying to me, "I don't believe you. What were you bending over and showing Isaac your what were you bending over and showing him your breast, and what kind of bra were you wearing?" And I literally was crying for 3 hours. And I wound up in the hospital. I have Crohn's disease, and I nearly died.
You mean from the stress?
It affected your health.
Yeah.
It affected your health.
I was bleeding profusely rectally for the whole year that this had been pending, and it's 3 years now, and I'm still dealing with my Crohn's disease.
Isn't there a civilian complaint board for district attorneys?
I filed a grievance complaint against Lisa Friel at the First Departmental Disciplinary Committee, and within 10 days it was dismissed. I filed a grievance complaint against Alan Isaac, and it's been pending now for 3 years, and I had hearings back in, I think it was last September, and what I witnessed there was beyond unethical and corrupt.
Well, you mentioned this. See, that's a very interesting point there. So, anybody out there who's been a victim of a crime and they've had an unresponsive, district attorney or even an ADA, even ADAs are very they're very corrupt as well. Where would someone go to actually file a complaint against the district attorney in New York City?
Well, I mean, to start off, you file a grievance complaint, but, once again, you have to hope that someone's going to listen to you, and that didn't happen in my case. You'd file, I actually even filed there's a conflict of interest board. I filed a complaint against her there also because I felt that this other attorney may have been conflicted with her because
this is valuable information that you're telling us, because there are a lot of people out there who have the same predicament and they feel powerless, especially when they're dealing with the actual.
Well, you actually could go to the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office also to file your complaints. So that's exactly what I did also.
Right, so you went across the board.
There was not one stone that I did not. I absolutely covered every single agency that superseded each one and each individual agency. I would supersede. I would above that, and above that. And for the last 3 years, I got so many doors slammed that I just kept on going, and I said, I'm not going to give up.
No, I know.
Crimes have been committed upon me, and I'm not going to allow, because I just feel that when someone is sexually assaulted, and then on top of that, you go to these agencies and expect relief and justice, and only to be further harassed, and it's amazing.
Right, they victimize the victim.
Yeah.
Luisa, what gives you the fortitude to keep persisting? Because when I heard just the 5 minutes that I heard on YouTube, I could see that you were a person of great substance and character, that you could say.
And it's amazing.
Right, they victimize the victim.
Yeah.
Luisa, what gives you the fortitude to keep persisting? Because when I heard just the 5 minutes that I heard on YouTube, I could see that you were a person of great substance and character, that you could say no to such a powerful, persuasive, seductive lawyer. And in a certain way, I can see some women would say, wow, look what he's going to do in court for me, And yet you said...
Funny that you say that, because the detective told me, he said, most women would have probably taken care of him.
Yeah,
they would have gotten a better outcome or a resolution towards their case.
Yeah.
That's what the detective told me.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is that you could, in the 5 minutes that I saw, you could see that you had your standards, and you went forward, but you're going against such enormous odds, just even to hear his voice and how he was responding. Like, I'm even wondering, what would his wife think if she heard this? And when people say about careers getting ruined, and yet you think, do you have all of this, like, silence going on and this complicity, so that even the ambitious lawyers that you talked to that said, I don't care who he is, we can, we're going to do an arrest. I think they were devastated. So I'm sure that along the line of you seeking justice, you must have many, many supporters that are watching your case and that are hoping that you get the justice that you deserve and that we all deserve.
Yeah, I've been pretty frustrated in the last 3 years. I have to tell you that many times I wanted to give up, and I just kept fighting. Even with my health going against me, I have, I'm doing it for the women out there.
Right.
I'm doing it for other women who have been in my position, who have been sexually abused, and feel helpless. I felt that I did not matter.
But you see, what I'm trying to say is even over and above your personal case, which is horrifying, how many other corrupt things are going on when people just through force of personality and thuggery, it's just thuggery.
My God, I have learned so much. I basically have been very, very naive, I have to say, and I had no idea what is going on in the court system. And I've witnessed just the related cases. I was mocked related to Christine Anderson. Her case, she's the attorney that she worked for the DDC, the First Departmental Disciplinary Committee. And when we filed our federal lawsuits, there are, I think, 6 or 7 other related cases who had similar circumstances, of corruption. She actually was pleading discrimination and corruption within the First Departmental Disciplinary Committee, as well as all these other related cases. So we filed our federal lawsuits, and Judge Shinlin was the judge that had our cases. And amazing what's happening just in that case alone with the federal court. I mean, my documents were missing, things were disappearing, mail things were getting missing. I can't even fathom what I have been witnessing.
Did you ever appear in court before Judge Shinlin?
I'm sorry?
Did you ever appear in court
Actually, when Christine Anderson had her first hearing there, or conference rather, I was there in front of Judge Shinlin. When my case went and I received a docket number, I was never in my case I think it was pending about 11 months. I have never, ever was in that courtroom in front of Judge Shinlin. Never saw her.
So your case that you filed was against the detective? Or who was your case filed against?
State of New York, et al., which is the State of New York, the First Departmental Disciplinary Committee, OCA, the detectives, Alan Isaac, which he's the attorney that sexually assaulted me, the law firms, and that's probably my defendants. They filed some motions to dismiss. I filed a motion. What was it? An opposition, rather. Opposition, memorandum in law of opposition.
Did you do this yourself?
Become your own lawyer.
Did you write the complaint and yourself?
Yeah.
And
there was a second amended. The last complaint was filed, which was a second amended complaint. Then they filed their motion to dismiss. I submitted memorandum of law in opposition to their motion to dismiss, and I submitted incontrovertible evidence of crimes on my opposition papers. I have a police report that says felony sexual abuse wanted Alan Isaac.
That should be a video. You should put that on your video.
I do have that on the video. What do you mean, the actual police report?
No, the YouTube is only 5 minutes. We didn't see that one.
Put it in words, and just take a photo of it and put it on a YouTube video. You got to put a picture of the guy's face. You should expose him, his face, everything.
Well, if you were to Google me, you would see a lot of the. I did several interviews with Channel 2 and Channel 5. 10 Wins. There was a lot, and I was in the New York Post. His picture was there.
Yes.
So I tried.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, and so she actually put 6 of the related cases into one basket and dismissed all of the cases. She never addressed any of my defendants, only the State of New York. And now we're in the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, and I just filed my appeal, I think it was on Monday. I submitted my brief and my appendix.
And who is she again?
Judge Shira A. Shinlin.
Okay.
Luisa, how did you find me? Because today I got something from you about this DDC fellow, thuggery in the disciplinary.
I actually found you a while ago, and
I know.
Through Dean Lauren.
Oh, through Dean Lauren.
Yes.
Right. Has Dean Lauren helped you?
I've never spoken to Dean Lauren. He and I have emailed each other back and forth a few times, but I've never personally spoken with him.
How about DeAndrea?
No.
Do you know who she is?
No. I may have heard the name. I basically have spoken to Gisela Wisehouse, Pamela Carvel, Elliot Bernstein, Stephen Lamont.
I don't know any of those names except Gisela Wisehouse, the Auschwitz survivor, and I do know that her case got so thorny that she had to become her own lawyer because I think
that's all of us. The same thing for all of the related cases. Absolutely, we can't find a lawyer that's willing to take the case.
Well, that happened to Lenny Bruce, just to for First Amendment rights, for what you say on stage and what as opposed to what you say off stage. He had to become his own lawyer.
Yeah.
I wanna file a camera in the court motion for your oral argument. I think they're gonna deny it because it seems that whenever you want to film cases that don't look good for government officials, you're always denied. But would you be in support of a motion to film your oral argument?
Yeah, I wouldn't oppose that.
I'm always curious, how do you get a recorder in there?
You just
have a small digital recorder, those little small.
There's a motion. You file a motion. In the Second Circuit, you can audio visually record oral arguments under Part F, the camera in the court rules, and they say yes, and you bring it in. Well, depending on the case, they'll say yes, and you bring your camera in and you just record. Set up your microphones if you have any, but you don't really have to have
it. I can't see them agreeing to that.
I'm sorry?
I can't see them agreeing to that.
Well, the way I see it, that's just another indictment of their complicity in this like lawless
justice. And it's amazing. The media has shunned us. The media has shunned all of these related cases. We have Kevin McEwen. We have all of these other cases that have. I can't even imagine the, Gets Trust. There are so many people that have been so criminally wronged here, and nothing has been done. And for the most part, it's the court system.
There's a guy by the name of Carl Pearson who he's doing something where he's using what's called home rule, and this is.
I have spoken with Carl Pearson in the past. I contacted him.
Are you affiliated with Manhattan Neighborhood Network?
No.
Oh, because it's interesting. You mentioned a lot of public access producers.
So how did Carl Pearson respond to you?
Basically, it was very interesting. We had a very long conversation, and he told me basically, we're dealing with a lot of corruption. I never ever thought at this degree. I never thought it was this severe. And the state of New York, the grievance committees, it's amazing. Here you have an attorney, and all these other attorneys with these related cases that they have filed complaints against, and it's just such denial of due process everywhere.
Have you? Do you think there's a lot of other people? Have you come in contact with a lot of other people that were as naive as you were?
Yeah, that has been completely criminally wronged. I mean, and it's happening in the state. The state disciplinary committee, the first departmental disciplinary committee. They filed complaints there. I mean, just for example, my case has been pending there for 3 years. I mean, how much more evidence do you need? I mean, you have a 1 hour and 49-minute tape plus other tapes of him discussing getting favors from judges. And him discussing and admitting to sexually assaulting me and demanding oral sex.
Luisa, I think part of the problem is when you say the media, nobody's picking up on this. It's not only your case. There's many other examples of people who are not getting justice in the court systems. I think people are so scared. They just don't want to lose their job in anything that might be related. And I think that's the lock, the brain lock, the mind control lock that we have to work to overcome, because until you overcome that and people gain the confidence that, I can take this risk, and if I take this risk, mine will be a better society, and someday when I need that justice, I'm going to have it, because it's something we all have to work towards.
Yeah, you're right. They are fearful of losing their jobs. You're right.
No, because even the email or the one that you sent...
They still blacklist people.
Excuse me?
And you know what? You know what? There are a lot of honest attorneys out there, and there are a lot of honest workers.
Yes.
And they probably wanted to do things, but they're getting stopped.
Right, because they're higher ups, they're supervisors, and everybody tells them what to do.
But
so
a lot
in the law system, it's always win-win-win for the client, no matter who the client is. So you can have a corrupt defendant, and you're going to have a lawyer who's just going to win for that client. So bringing charges against people, even when you bring charges against, it's like a prosecutor.
But there is a very serious systemic corruption within the New York State ethics committees. Definitely.
Yes, it's a mess. It's actually a mess.
It's an absolute mess.
Luisa, where do you live?
I live in West Hempstead.
In where?
West Hempstead. That's probably about 5 minutes from Garden City, Long Island.
Oh, in Long Island, I see. So you don't get the Manhattan Neighborhood Network channels?
No.
No. But you see things on YouTube. Have you been
I've seen many of your videos. I've watched many of your videos.
Okay. Are you satisfied with your YouTube coverage? Do you feel, are people responding? Is there some...
Well, I've had about 15, close to 16,000, I think. I don't think it's gotten, no, I don't think it has definitely been out there and gotten the coverage that it needs. Absolutely not.
Yeah, YouTube is sort of like voyeurism. It's like people watch it, but they don't really, they'll comment on it, but it's...
They're not going to do anything about it.
Yeah, it's superficial.
Right.
But as long as you keep making a public statement about it, then it could be useful.
Right.
Well, this is what I was going to say about Pearson. His point, so this point doesn't get lost, and it's kind of out there. But his whole thing is home rule, and with home rule, if you get enough petitions, enough signatures on a petition, you can actually put an issue on the ballot. So, Luisa, in your particular situation, if you could get enough signatures on a petition to put the question on the ballot of whether or not Alan Isaacs should be arrested, that could actually be an item on the ballot.
Yeah, except Carl Pearson was kind of discouraging people from having 10,000 issues on the ballot. He's pushing for city attorney general. Did he talk to you about that, Luisa?
No.
Well, with all due respect, he doesn't want 10,000 issues on the ballot, but you have an issue. I have an issue. There are a lot of people who have issues, and so.
But you can't.
At that point, I was going to make a citizen's arrest.
Oh, that's interesting. What does that involve?
Just me going over there and saying you're under arrest for sexually abusing me, and then calling a cop and having a cop there and saying, I just arrested this man.
Oh, can you do that?
I think so. I actually was going to do that.
So you mean, Luisa, despite your Crohn's disease and all what you're suffering, you would still have the stamina to do such a gutsy thing?
I just feel that the man should have been arrested, and he should be behind bars.
Well,
he shouldn't be out there subjecting other women.
The
man is still practicing law.
He's a corrupt lawyer who knows how to manipulate the law. So there's a lot of dirty lawyers out there. He's definitely one of them. I mean, I think what you need is more. I think you need more videos, but that really expose him. There's got to be an image of him, and I think this information that you mentioned, the actual docket numbers of you don't have to write the docket numbers, but the actual files, the information, the statements made by the police, that should all be put into a comprehensive video.
I think a citizen's arrest is a fine and a very effective idea. I did a citizen's arrest once with a fellow by the name of Jeffrey Blank. We were down at 9/11.
I know Jeffrey Blank. I don't know him personally, but I know of him.
And a fireman came, and I mean, at least I don't know what you think about 9/11, but anyway, a fireman came and actually knifed the banner and cut it. We then did a citizen's arrest of him, and this is on video.
Wow.
Did a citizen's arrest. The cops grabbed me, put me to the ground, and grabbed Jeffrey as well. The guy, they acted like they were he walked away, and a woman followed him and videotaped him. The police actually put him in a van, and this is all on videotape.
Yeah, I've seen that on that.
Put him in a van. We never saw him again, but there was never an arrest made. And that's what happened. But I think that that is a great idea to do. I'd love to be there, film it when it happens, and you know, whatever happens from there, you got to push the envelope on things. And I still say that a petition to have him arrested, although you need, I don't know exactly how many signatures, a petition, especially with the evidence you have, people would sign that petition like, you know, crazy.
But just a second, I honestly feel, Luisa, that Carl has, we'll post this and I'll ask Carl for some comments about it, but you know, so what? You get one lousy lawyer behind bars. What is going on that allows this to happen? That's the kind of change I want to see.
Exactly.
But what I think is going on is
I'm
that
just a little on the map. You know, there's a much bigger picture here. I mean, to see how many agencies and to see how many people were involved in
the cover-up.
watching this is the scary picture.
Right, right.
That's
They have
that's absolutely.
They win for the team. That's why. Those people win for the team.
If, you know, people that I know that, you know, I've known for a long, long time, and they were attorneys or they still practice. I mean, I was actually told, oh, Alan Isaac, oh, he's going to get away with everything. He's untouchable.
But you know, people are partly responsible for that because they want their case to win. So they're going to want the untouchable lawyer. So in some ways, this sort of enhances the career of somebody who's made a decision to go the corrupt route.
You know who's had? You know who else is who's like that? He's untouchable, and he's had sexual harassment lawsuits filed against him. Mayor Bloomberg.
Mayor Bloomberg, yeah.
Really?
Mayor Bloomberg has had, I think, 5 sexual harassment cases filed against him, and they've all been settled out of court.
Yeah, but see, now there's a big difference between sexual harassment and sexual assault.
What is the difference?
I think there were a couple of cases of inappropriate touching.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
But,
because then there's also misdemeanor and there's felony level. When someone puts their hand inside someone's, you know, and touches, I mean, the raw flesh, nipple, and all, that's a felony.
Yes. Like rape.
As opposed to someone touching the outside of someone's blouse.
okay, I don't want my point to get lost. Okay. Because if you look at the
and you know, and the most
wait, let me finish. Let me finish this. Let me finish this
my
point.
case hostage.
Let me finish this point. Okay. If you undertake the problem is people are not taking what measures are there for them to take, and the home rule one, although it would take a lot of work, the citizen's arrest one, although it would take a lot of work, these are measures that can be taken, and people are not taking the measures that they can take. And that's what one of the big problems is.
No, citizen's arrest is a good idea.
Home rule is a good idea. Why is home rule not a good idea?
Because you want to get something on the ballot where you get not just one guy, but the whole corrupt system. Nobody wants to. Luisa, you sent me this a long time ago. You tried to connect with me a long time ago, and I just felt, man, I got so much on my plate, I can't deal with this. But I found that when you sent today something that was associated with thuggery in the DDC, right? That's supposed to be an oversight, the
The disciplinary, the departmental disciplinary committee.
Yeah, the departmental disciplinary committee.
No, that's another branch.
Yeah, so
we went from the DA's office.
But here's what grabbed me. It got close to what I was working on, which was 9/11 Truth, because John Galino, who's in Puerto Rico right now, was a playback operator when he was told to cut the channels. And the question is, why were the channels cut during 9/11? And it was the same mechanism of thuggery that I saw in this little video today, and then I flipped over to yours, and I was just horrified.
Yeah.
You know, but...
It is. It's really horrifying. I mean, everyone. I feel for everyone.
Right.
You know, that's going through any of these, you know, anything similar. There are people that are in jail right now that shouldn't be there.
Well, I was actually surprised to see Carl Pearson down at St. Mark's on the 9/11, because I didn't think that would be his thing, but I think he was there because 9/11 was just a very, you know, strong example of the absence of an office that protects people's rights. You have a right not to be sexually assaulted, but what office actually protects that? You've got these...
Right, and I have a right to due process, and I have been denied, and all of us have been denied that.
Yeah, it's that all of us being denied that concerns me, because it's what else is going on in this lawyer's office that he is so protected. Because what Carl is also saying right now, you need a city attorney general because things are better than ever, because now we know what law enforcement has not been made and that has allowed this financial crisis. Your situation is related to the financial crisis. It's you know, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Oh, absolutely.
That's
absolutely. Well, you know, one good thing I have to tell you, we have a meeting tomorrow with the Judiciary Committee.
With the Disciplinary Committee?
Judiciary Committee in Washington.
Okay. And what's going to happen?
Well, we're meeting with someone and we're going to present all of our evidence, all of our claims.
Is this going to be in Washington?
Yeah.
What time?
3 o'clock.
So are you in Long Island now?
Yeah.
Well,
I really wish you well tomorrow. What I'll do is I'll post this and...
if you could call Paula, and then Paula would tape record it.
Yeah, I would I would like to have some type of media coverage on that.
So call Paula tomorrow.
You want to go
in Washington?
Yes, I'm getting ready to. How are you getting down there?
Driving. I'm not driving. A bunch of us are going. Stephen Lamont, Kevin McEwen, Will Gallison, a few of us.
Nobody's got a camera?
No.
We should discuss.
I have a camera.
He's a camera toting kind of guy.
Well, we need that.
You got room in the car?
Yeah.
Okay.
What time are you leaving?
I think around 8 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
You're leaving from West Hempstead?
We're actually leaving from, I think it's Westchester, where the one of the guys, I think he actually rented a van.
Okay, we'll get the logistics figured out a little bit later.
Okay.
Okay, any last thing to say before we close this show and I post it?
I just hope that the meeting that we have tomorrow, you know, that we receive justice, that all of us receive justice in the court system and everywhere else.
Great.
And I just pray for everybody. It's just very sad.
Well, so, you know, it sounds like you're really onto, you know, you're really doing something here. You're really a crusader. And it's great to hear that this is going places with this.
There have been times I've been afraid for my life, trust me.
I'm certain you have.
Courageous what you're doing.
I mean, just 2 weeks ago, I had someone pull into my driveway. I had just left my house probably 20 minutes, and someone pulled into my driveway. My neighbor saw a guy getting out of the car with a flashlight, going up to my window and looking inside my house.
Yeah.
That's like intimidation tactics.
Yeah. Probably, but, you know, it's scary. It's really scary. So,
Luisa, I just want to say, you followed some of my shows. I'm really getting strongly into healthcare, and I'm knowing some very powerful methods to take care of the body, so I'd like to share that with you.
oh, I would really, because I'm looking at very extensive fusion on my cervical spine.
Yeah.
And, you know, my Crohn's also.
Well, I've got some bright news to tell you. I mean, I'm learning stuff so fast, and it's so interesting. And like Carl Pearson said, in a way, the times are better than ever because you can start to locate where the problems are. And the same is true with healthcare. So it's very important that you take care of yourself for your own sake, but also for the entire society's sake, which you're a part of. And we really appreciate your efforts. And I just really want to thank you for being with us on this show, joined by John Galino in Puerto Rico, Pozar here, who's our, expert person about cameras in the courts, and just to stay tuned, okay?
Oh, I really thank you so very much for having me on your show.
Yeah, well, thank you, Luisa. And stand by, and this is Paula Gloria saying over and out from farther down the rabbit hole. Thanks, Pozar. Thanks, John, and thanks, Luisa.
See you later.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Wait.
Oh, wait.
We're going to cut the cameras.
We're just cutting the camera.
Okay.